In 1894, Arthur Savage started the Savage Arms Company. It's been an iconic firearm manufacturer for over 120 years. It eventually became one of the largest selling manufacturers in sporting rifles in the world. Now, we might think of a Savage 22 as being a kid's gun, but it's not. Because in this book by John Taylor, who spent most of his life in Africa hunting game, large game and small game, he wrote a book on African rifles and cartridges. Now, it's just not a book for people that want to go to Africa and hunt big game. It also has chapters on medium bore rifles and also small bore rifles. But he writes in the small bore rifle section in chapter 6, page 194 and 195, he specifically talks about the Savage 22 rifle. And I will read you what he says here. I have read of the 22 Savage being used on one occasion by a person to shoot a man-eating tiger. However, I am glad that it was he and not I. Still, he killed the tiger. However, I am most certainly not recommending any such weapon for that kind of shooting, any more than for stopping a charging rhino. Then on page 195, he writes, the modern 22 long rifle rimfire is really an astounding little weapon. Given a good scope sight and a steady shot, it's always most unbelievable the variety of animals that you can shoot with it. Last thing that John says about the 22 rimfire rifle is that he says, I would happily undertake walking through the backbrush of Africa armed with nothing more than a rimfire 22 rifle and a good powerful handgun, and I am sure that I would not go hungry. I'm River Roubaix, and welcome to my gun kingdom. There's a lot of people out there that think 22s are just for kids. You know, that's not true at all, is it?
Well, no. I'm a big kid. I think they're the funnest
That's right.
to shoot.
We're just big kids. If they're just for kids, then I guess. John's going to go over the specs of his Savage 22 Mark II here.
Hell, this is what they consider a target model. It's got a bull barrel, which is a big, heavy barrel, 21 inches, which people claim that's one of the best lengths for a 22. I think it's 16-to-1 spirals in the rifling. See the AccuTrigger, which you can adjust. This is down to 2.5 pounds.
Now you did that yourself. You changed the pull.
It was almost set as light as it could. I could barely move it. You got to take the trigger out, which is nothing, and you can adjust it heavier or lighter.
What does the manufacturer set the triggers at? Is it 5 pound pull?
No, it was actually, that's about what it was. But I could loosen it up about a half a turn, but it really didn't make any difference. About 2.25 to 2.5 pound. I checked it with my gauge about 3-4 times, and every time it was between 2.25 and 2.5.
In the owner's manual, what does it say that you can set the trigger to? Does it say from 1 to 5 or
something? I forget what it says. People do some work to them, and I've heard them getting down to 1 pound. I don't know why you'd ever need it. I can feel the safety part of the trigger, but I don't feel the trigger. It's that light.
Right. And I noticed that has the
that's safety they put on a lot of the guns now. So it's got light triggers. That way the hammer can't drop until this part is pushed in first. A lot of your guns today have it. That way they can put a lighter trigger.
What do you
on
call that, John?
I really don't forget what they call it, but it's just part of the safety.
Okay. Okay.
So, because lawyer laws, you can't have these light triggers. I mean, some of these guys get them so light, you close the bolt hard and they'll go off.
Yeah.
So this way, that just dropped something in there so the hammer can't drop until this is pulled in.
Now, of course, if you go hunting with this gun, like the 22, popular would be varmints or squirrel. But let's say you're walking through a woods, and you accidentally hit the stock on a tree. This trigger safety is going to come in there, but you shouldn't carry your gun loaded anyway until you get back to the spot where you're going to hunt.
Right.
So,
and it's got its safety too. It's manual safety.
where is the safety?
Right here.
It's okay. There you go. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Okay. How much does the gun weigh, John?
This with the scope and everything weighs 8 pounds.
Okay, and that's without the
Right. I didn't weigh it with that. I weighed it before.
Okay.
But this is a bigger scope and solid steel mounts, and so
How many does the mag hold?
5. You can get a 10 for it, but usually target shooting, you only shoot 5 at a target anyways. And I like it because it's up farther instead of sticking out, is what I like. But they do make, you can get a 10. I think if you get the hunting version, they come with the 10 shot mag. But really, they come with the 5, and I got another 5 just to have an extra one.
Now, this doesn't come with the gun,
No.
right? You added
No,
that
I
yourself.
put this on.
Okay.
It hooks right on one of the swivel mounts. It just comes on and off, very simple. And
Now,
I just thought I'd try one. I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. But
now tell us about the scope that you have on it.
this is a Bushnell 3-9 variable with 40 millimeter optics. I like the bigger optics because of my eyes just aren't that great anymore. But this has got bullet drop compensator, which supposedly if you have it sighted in at 50 yards, which is normal range for sighting in 22s, most of your target competition shooting is done at 50 yards. And that's a good range for them. But then it's got the marks on it so you can 75 and 100 and 125 yards, which that's about the farthest you want to shoot at 22. Now there's guys now they're shooting these 300-400 yards, but the bullet drops 3 foot, and so they got the mounts with the built-in pitch and everything on them to get that much drop. But I'm more interested in 50 yards and up to 100 yards. And
What would you say the pros and cons are of a bullet compensator, a drop compensator like that?
well, it's really so probably more for hunting. So if you're going to shoot something farther away, I believe that's why they made it out to 125. That's probably maximum to shoot anything with the 22. I mean, yeah, you could shoot a fox or coyote, but I've always said 100 yards for like woodchucks. But with some of the ammo they make today, I've got some, I've never shot it, but it's 32 grain hollow point. It's 1,640 feet per second. So it's made for longer range shooting. Something like that, yeah, probably will reach out at 125 yards with no problem.
What's the length of the barrel again?
21 inches,
Okay. And the gun weighs about 8 pounds, right?
yes.
Okay. Now I know that the prices are always going to change, when we're making this video. I mean, it could change in the next week or so, but what is the price for this is a Mark II, and it's a BV, which is B stands for the laminated stock and V stands for varmint. So what does this retail for right now, roundabout figure?
I just paid $369 for it, for the gun.
$369. And that's without the scope.
Right.
You mounted the scope yourself,
Right.
right? Okay.
That's
$369.
$100. The mounts are $25. This is about $40. But a lot of people, you can buy the standard one for $169. But then they go buy a different stock for it and stuff like that. You end up having as much in it. I prefer the wood stock to the synthetic. It just looks nice.
Yeah, it is.
It fits me.
It's a nice,
fits me perfect.
it's a nice looking gun.
It's got the Monte Carlo stock. You hold your head up to see the scope, and I just like it. I believe, well, they make a synthetic stock on it too that's about $400, but I like this stock better. So you can spend on them whatever you want. This is really an economical target gun. You want to start doing serious target shooting. This is probably entry level anymore.
Yeah. Now, we talked in the opening of before the intro that 22s just aren't for kids. So, you know, these are for adults also. I mean, you can go out and it's fun for everybody to shoot a 22. You know what I like about a 22 is you can really practice squeezing the trigger because you know you're not going to get any recoil. And that's, to me, that's a lot of fun. And then when you go to shoot the bigger bore rifles, then you've practiced a lot on squeezing the trigger with that 22.
Oh yeah, definitely. They are so economical to shoot. And to me, takes as much experience and practice to shoot these at 50 yards as it does to shoot a high powered at 200 yards.
Sure.
You know, it's just in a smaller scale, but I think there's more target shooting done with the 22 than all the other guns put together.
Well, it's economical to shoot, right? You know,
Right.
so, and, you know, again, you don't have to worry about recoil. There's no recoil at all with a 22. And if you're just starting out shooting, this is a nice level entry gun to start with, isn't it?
Yep. Yep. Oh, it'd make a heck of a squirrel gun other than
Yeah.
the weight, but you really don't walk that much squirrel hunting.
Right. And I have a lot of fond memories of hunting with my father, squirrel hunting, and we always used 22s, and plenty enough for a squirrel, for
Yeah.
sure. So,
Oh, yeah.
but you know, we want to briefly talk about the ammunition that these rifles take. Now, this is a 22 long rifle. Now, there's some people out there that might think that you might be able to interchange and shoot a 22 mag. And John's going to explain why you don't want to shoot a 22 mag out, a Magnum, out of a 22 long rifle. And also, you really don't want to shoot a 22 short out of a 22 long rifle. And I'll let you go ahead and tell them why.
Well, the Magnum won't fit in it. They're longer than a 22. And shorts don't really hurt them. They don't chamber in this gun like this. And they will, if you shoot a lot of them, you need to keep your chambers clean because they'll leave a ring in there. I've shot them out of an old single shot, I have. But they're fun little cartridges, very quiet. But they're even hard to find. More expensive than buying a long rifle. I guess they do have their place for pest and stuff. But for target shooting, I don't think anybody uses them for target shooting.
So you really want to be careful with getting the right ammunition for
Right.
this particular gun, because this does take a 22 long rifle cartridge. And tell us what you're going to be shooting today with it in the feet per second.
I'm using CCI today, target standard velocity, 40 grain, lead targets. They're subsonic, they're 1,070 feet per second. They're quiet, get more accuracy out of a subsonic shell, where your standard ones are like 1260. Well, you really don't need that for target shooting. So and there's different companies. You can buy these target shells for, well, these right now are $5 for a box of 50 at Walmart. You can buy some of the Ely or Lapua. Some of them are $25 for 50. But these work pretty good just for your informal target shooting. If I'm serious in the competition, I'd try different shells.
Now, John, we haven't touched on the fact that this is a bolt action, and there's 22s out there that are lever action. You know, the bolt action is going to be much more accurate than a lever action is, right? Because in the lever action, you have that hammer fall, where this is a little more faster, right?
Yeah, they're faster. Just the way they're set up. There's a lot of 22 automatics are very popular. You really use them for target shooting because it just seems like the bolt action has always had a little bit better accuracy. because you're using, with an automatic, you're using some of the power from that shell to operate it. And they say you lose a little velocity and stuff. I don't know. My other gun's are automatic that I use for hunting all my life, and it's always worked fine for me, but I don't think you see anybody doing serious target shooting with an automatic anymore.
But in a bolt action, the firing pin is going to contact the rim on the cartridge a lot faster than a hammer falling down and striking. So, you know, in the comments below, tell us what .22 rifle that you like to shoot for target or hunting or anything. But this is a Savage .22 Mark II BV .22 long rifle. And John's going to sight it in today at 50 yards. He hasn't shot it at 50 yards. He's shot it at 30 yards. But today he wants to sight it in at 50. And we've got a GoPro camera sitting out there. And we're going to be able to show you the instant result on the target. So what do you say we go ahead and get ready and set up and shoot this thing, right, John?
And warm up the barrel.
All righty. All right. Stay tuned and make sure you hit that like button if you like the video and hit that subscribe button. There's always more future content coming up. I believe you wouldn't even need earplugs with this. Are you wearing
No, I forgot to put mine on. It don't make any noise.
No.
These target shells do not make much noise at all. Yeah, that's I figure. It needs moved up and just a little bit to the left.
So
these are.
Tell us how you have to adjust it. You have to use a coin?
These you don't. I don't believe. No, you can reach in and do these. A lot of them you can do that anymore. And they're 4 clicks for an inch at 100 yards. So at 50 yards, you got to do 2 clicks for like each 1/4 inch.
So what about up and down?
Well, this one's for up and this side's for down. There.
So when you go
clearly marked on it.
Counterclockwise to go up, or?
Yes, that's the way the arrow's pointing. To go up, I go counterclockwise. And they're marked on here. I'm going to go to the left. Oh. Those are all just a little bit low to the right. Okay.
You like your trigger pull?
Yes. No, but that's one thing that's important. Any rifle is the trigger pull. You got one, you got to jerk and really pull hard. You can't hold the gun steady. Like I say, this, I don't even feel it. I just pull it and it goes off. I don't notice any gun movement at all when it goes off. Okay, I still need... Well, I can't tell exact because I think they're all in the red.
Have you had to do any adjusting left or right?
Just a little bit. I had it close, just in the backyard. Fairly close. But I only had, for about 30 yards is about all I could do in the backyard. And it wasn't the greatest day for shooting either. I just wanted to get the scope on there and get it close. Between 30 and 50 yards, I figured there wouldn't be much difference. Well, I think we're going to have to walk down there and see how good I did.
Tell us about the sandbag you're using and why you like to use it.
Well, I needed one higher using this, the bipod. That's the first I've used them. And I see where they'd be great for varmint hunting, where you're going to lay on the ground. For target shooting, this is normally the front bag and the rear bag. So I got to kind of adjust it every time. I'm not sure if I'm going to like that for target shooting.
Do you want to try the lead sled today?
Well, no, I think because I can hold this steady enough. We might just to use it. For that, I probably have to take this off. Bipod, which is nothing to take off. It just thumb screw to take it off.
I'm thinking that you could lock it in.
Oh, that's one thing with that. You can lock it right in there.
Lock it right in.
And it's not going to move.
That's the advantage of a lead
You're
sled.
basically just pulling the trigger, putting it in there. And
So a lead sled, what I like about them, they're not just for high-powered rifles. They're for small bore rifles too, because you can lock them in, and they don't move.
right. That soaks up the recoil when you put the weight in it. You can buy just the ones that hold it, which are great for the 22s. Yeah, there's absolutely no recoil.
So that's what we'll do. After we check the targets, that's what we'll do.
Yeah, we're going to walk down and check it because but I got them all in the orange and the sun's not shining on them, so I can't see exactly if I got them, right exactly on. I only moved the scope 3 clicks up and 2 clicks over, so we'll see how good it is. Well, that's 5 shots right there. my first shot, and then I raised it up and shot a couple. Raised it up and moved it over and shot a couple there. So then I shot at this target. That's 5 shots. So there's 1 and there's four in there. It just, yeah. That's pretty darn close. It's like, whether you move it 1 click to the right, because 2 of them are dead on the line, and the other 3 kind of walked off. That's pretty good for 50 yards.
We'll try the lead sled, and why don't you try this with the lead sled? But I'd say that's a pretty good pattern, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, that's a good group. There's 4 of them in 1 hole. I mean, that cover a dime. That's, I shot 5 and then I moved it, so there's 1. So I must have put 4 of them in that hole.
Jeez. Oh yeah, you can see
But
that.
see, on this bigger one, that's where I was at. This one, there's a little bit off.
Yeah.
There.
Now, was this after you adjusted it? Or before?
Yes, this is for a first shot first. And then I adjusted it and hit a couple there, so I put in 5 more and shot at this little target.
So, when you talk about clicks at 50 yards, you raised it up. You raised it up and went over to the left, 2 clicks on each one, right?
Right, because I was about, needed to be, not much, I mean, 1/2 inch to a 1/4 inch over, and it only needed to be, so I moved it for a 1/2 inch up and a 1/4 inch over from my original shot. I pretty much got, because those were right on, so are these, except for that one's a little bit high. Had to be the gun, I couldn't miss by that much. Okay, now we got an lead sled, which theoretically for this gun, it locks it in there. I mean, I'm not even holding the gun, I'm just aiming it and pulling the trigger. So it really should get the best accuracy possible. I'm going to shoot at the top left target. I didn't tighten them up enough. Yeah, they're all in the red. From here, I can't really see positively.
What's your thoughts on the lead sled now, as far as like helping you?
Oh, sure it helps some. I'd have to go down there and look at it. I think we're going to have to, but it looks like I might have to go up another notch and over to the right. I can see a hole. I don't know if all of them are in the same hole. I think we're going to have to take a look at it. When the sun starts hitting them targets, I think we'll be able to see them better.
So that's a much better firmness.
Oh yeah,
that gun still.
Yeah, so I can adjust it right on there. I'm basically just
and
pulling the trigger.
And if you notice too, we don't have a bag of shot in here.
Right.
That weighs 25 pounds. You really don't need it with a 22.
No, we're just using it to hold. some of those guns that, you know, recoil a lot. I mean, they're rough on an old shoulder. Actually, you don't want to shoot them that much. You get them sighted in, that's about it. And that's what these are really great for, taking a recoil and holding it steady. Because that's the biggest thing of trying to get a gun zeroed in. It's got to be steady. So.
Yeah, don't discount using a lead sled even for a 22 to help you sight in a rifle.
Right.
So let's go down and take a look at the target.
Let's see again. How about the law of averages? I should move it up a notch. This one's off a little bit. I always get one that's off a little bit. See, these were to the left. That was me holding it. This with the lead sled, they were still to the left. So I think I'm going to move it to the right a notch. I think I'm going to move it up a notch and over to the right. Because all of them were to the left a little bit. Because all I did on this one, I moved it 2 notches, which should have been a 1/4 inch. And I was hitting there. Make a minor adjustment. Yeah, we'll just leave them off. Probably close enough for most people, but I want to see if I can get them dead center. They're all in the bullseye. I can see I hit the right side of the bullseye. I only moved it 1 notch. Could just be that's the way this scope is. Yeah, they're all in the red.
You think you're going to stick with that CCI ammunition for this particular rifle?
Well, that's all I've even tried in it. It groups very well.
How does the cost compare to other ammunition compared to the CCI?
Well, I say this is like $5 for a box
50, right?
of 50. And, you know, you get some of that Target at Eli or Lapua, and you can pay up to $25 a box. But they're all exactly the same weight and powder. I mean, they're truly a serious target load. But when you're just doing target shooting like this, you know, is it that important? I mean, everybody wants to do perfect, but just according to what you want to spend on ammo. These are doing very well. I can't blame it on the shell. It's probably operator error. But, I mean, I'm putting them all in there. The last 2 targets, lobbing in the red. No, they're not in one hole, but they're all in the bullseye. So I guess we'll have to go down and take a good look. Didn't bring the spotting scope today to look at them.
No, I forgot it. I should have remembered that.
Cause that's, well, this is
Totally forgot that. It would have been good today too.
when they're all in there.
Good.
And I only moved it.
Yeah, it's I think that lead sled is helping a lot too.
Yeah, a little bit, but I mean, these are without it. Yeah, if all these are touching, 4 of them are touching there, all 5 of them are touching there. I mean, other than that one, it's about top dead center. Dime would cover the little group.
Well, John, it was a pleasure shooting with you today, and thanks for coming out and
Thanks for having me.
yeah, thanks for sharing the Savage 22 Mark II with us today. And what are your final thoughts on the rifle after shooting today?
Oh, I love it. It's great. Works very well. The bolt action on this is really, as far as I consider, very smooth. I think I got it sighted in about as well as it's going to be. I'm going to put the caps on it and shoot it like that for a while. That last group was, all 5 of them were touching and weren't all dead center, but the dime would cover it up and it was within a half inch of the dead center. So I think that's just a good place to shoot it for a while. Sometimes the more you shoot it, the better they shoot. And I might try some different ammo, but that stuff shoots awful good for what it is.
For the price, right?
For the price, I may come across and get some all-out, some real target ammo, just see how much better it does.
And again, we were shooting today 40 grain.
Yep.
And the feet per second was 1070.
Yep. Which most of your target loads are. That's subsonic. They say once you get above the speed of sound, you start losing accuracy, is what they say. But that's all you need for target shooting.
The speed of sound is what, 750?
No. Speed of sound's more than that, because these are less than the speed of sound.
Oh, these, okay.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is, and the high-powered ones are the speed of sound. But, yeah, eventually we'll try some at longer yardage and see how the bullet drop compensator works, and see how some of these other, say I got about 3 other velocities, and see how well they shoot. But for now, I'm just going to put some rounds through at 50 yards with these shells. Get it broken in. That's the first I've really shot it. And I didn't even shoot out. I'm going to shoot 30 shells through it, 30 rounds, 25 rounds through it. So.
But I think a 22 should be in everybody's gun cabinet.
Oh yeah, and I think anybody that's got any interest in guns probably does have a 22 somewhere. Used to be everybody had one sitting by the back door, in the corner by the back door. Yeah. My God, just was the normal thing for everybody to have.
So make sure in the comments below that you share with us what you have for a 22 and what kind of ammo you like to shoot, and it's good to share information with everybody out there. But this is the Savage 22 Mark II, and we really appreciate you watching today, and hit that subscribe button if you're not a subscriber, and if you are a subscriber, thank you, and thank you to all the future subscribers too. And if you like the video, if we helped you out, make sure you hit that like button too. But we appreciate you watching, don't we, John?
Yes, we do.
Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.